Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Glenn Meter Podcast, episode 10. This episode is titled Your Brushstrokes of Life. I'm going to take a more personal and spiritual perspective to my podcast today. I'm not going to talk about current events, but I think you're going to really like this. So before I start, I want to wish you a very merry belated Christmas. I hope you had a great time with your loved ones. I certainly did. It was really special for us because we didn't really have a Thanksgiving with my parents this year because they were worried about the virus. But we kind of fixed that for Christmas. We all got together and we had a great time and it was wonderful. And I hope you had the same great experience that we did. So just so you know, my podcast is new, as is my YouTube channel, but my newsletter has been alive and well for a number of years, and it's sent out to over 20,000 people. It's a weekly newsletter, and I encourage you to sign up at glennmeter.com. You can sign up for the free version, but if you like what you hear, please support me by becoming a premium member. I am an independent voice. I don't make a salary. The only way I make money is from my premium subscribers. So I really do appreciate it if you support me. I think that very few people, especially journalists and commentators, are grounded in the truth anymore. And the people who do try to seek truth are putting themselves at risk. And so this is why I encourage you to support me and other independent voices who are standing up and putting ourselves out there. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up and share. So today I'm titling this episode, Your Brushstrokes of Life. And I encourage you to send it to anyone, young and old, who may be going through some tough times figuring out who they are and how they fit into this world. Young people especially are under a tremendous amount of pressure to figure out what they want to be and do with their lives. And I do believe that this pressure is greater than ever before. My son went through this, and he went through it much harder than I did. And I noticed that many of his friends went through the same challenges. We live in a very difficult time with mass manipulation, very powerful mass manipulation, propaganda. And this manipulation is especially targeted to young people. So the questions of who am I and what do I do are questions of identity, your internal belief structure about who you are and how you fit into this world. So understand that identity is a function of your mind. Your mind wants to have something to grasp onto. Your mind doesn't like uncertainty. It doesn't like the unknown. It's fearful in this way. Your mind wants anchor points. The stronger, the better. Your mind wants labels. It wants to be defined. It wants to say, let's say I'm a carpenter, an entrepreneur, a political activist, a teacher, liberal, conservative, Christian, an American, young, hip, attractive, ugly, male, female, strong, funny, a good writer, a nerd, a jock, gay, athlete, whatever. These are all labels that your mind latches onto. So here's an important point to understand. To the mind, being undefined is painful. Your mind would rather have physical or emotional pain than be undefined. So if it doesn't have labels, it will latch onto whatever it can, even negative labels. I'm a thief, I'm a smoker, a gambler, a drunk, a drug addict, a loser, I'm poor or handicapped, whatever. To the mind, a negative label is better than no label. Without labels, you can feel like you don't know who you are or how you fit into society. You can feel lost, weak, and lacking in confidence. Your identity helps define you. It gives you perspective and gives you purpose. It's core to who you are, and it determines whether you will be happy or sad, content or unfulfilled, successful at relationships, career, and spiritual matters or not. Most people don't understand how their mind works, so the identification process just happens to them. They unconsciously become a result of their environment and their programming, which means that they allow other people to define them and who they are. Political power brokers and activists want to label you. They want you to identify as a liberal or conservative, Democrat or Republican, gay, non-binary, environmentalist, or a mega man or mega person. As soon as you assume a label and identify yourself with a particular group, they can control you. So how does this control work? As soon as you accept a label, you are agreeing to think in a certain way, in a way that is defined by that label. So once you agree to a label, the power brokers simply have to define or redefine what that label stands for, and your belief structure will change accordingly. This control process happens without people's knowledge, and if you point this manipulation out, they will fiercely deny it. This is why political activists want you to get angry. They don't want you to think, but rather they want you to passionately identify with a label. This is actually a form of mind control. Teens and young adults are very vulnerable to this type of attack because they haven't had enough life experience to determine what the right way to define their life is. Again, having no label is painful for the mind. So those who are adrift are eager to accept whatever labels are required for acceptance. Now, here's an important point. Why are activists so eager to eliminate traditional labels, especially when it comes to gender? It's because people need labels. And if common sense labels are denied to them, they are even more eager to latch onto other labels that the power brokers and activists want you to embrace so they can control you. It's all about control. It's important to understand that you can consciously define and redefine your own identity so you can become the person you want to be. And there are ways to be strong and protect yourself against this type of attack, which is becoming increasingly powerful in our society, more powerful than ever before in the past. The most common but least effective way that people try to protect themselves is by preemptive definition and projection. This means that you quickly embrace a label and then you project your self-identity to others before they have a chance to label you. It's a way of saying, I've already defined myself, so this is what I want you to believe about me. This projection is done in countless ways. From bumper stickers on cars that define your political beliefs, t-shirts with sayings on them, tattoos, hairstyles, jewelry, the clothes you wear, the vehicle you drive, and more. This is effective to some degree, but by embracing labels, you create self-imposed limitations on yourself. Labels, by definition, are limitations on how you see yourself, how you perceive the world, how you perceive your place in the world, and how the world sees you. Labels keep you down. They prevent you from growing. There are better ways to control your identity so you can get the most out of life. To start with, I want to propose a different way of looking at who you are. And I want to start by saying that there's a weakness in our language when it comes to self-identification. The question is, what am I? Or who am I? And why am I here? And these are all connected questions. Are you this physical body? Are you your emotions? Are you your thoughts? Are you the culmination of all your experiences? Are you what you do? You're not your physical body because it's temporary. The same can be said of your emotions and thoughts. Your experiences are also fleeting. There are opportunities for growth, but what about you is growing? What part of you is growing? The permanent part. That part which is immortal and divine. The true you. I believe that our language is wrong that we say that we have a soul. Rather, we are soul. And as soul, we are created in God's image. And we are temporarily here in this clay temple to learn certain lessons of life. We're here to learn how to live in love and help shine God's light of divine love. So I'll leave you to contemplate on that further. But for now, I want to go back to the question of identification. Who are you and what do you do? As I said, identification is a function of your mind, but you are not your mind. The real answer to who am I is that you are soul, a divine, immortal being. Period. That's it. All other forms of identification are false and temporary. You are not your age. You're not male or female. You're not a particular race, and you aren't your political beliefs. And you are here for a purpose. You are here to learn to be strong, so you can love and be free. To become strong, you need to face challenges. All of your inner and outer struggles are created by your mind, and identification is the biggest struggle of all. But the mind is not bad. The struggles aren't evil. It's up to you to choose who is in charge. Is it you, the real you, soul, or is it your mind that is in charge? When your mind is in control, you live in a locked state of consciousness. You live in fear and attachment. It takes discipline for you, the real you, soul, to take control of your mind. But when soul is in control of a disciplined but subservient mind, soul is free and happy and full of love. So I like to think of it like your mind is like a pet dog. A well-trained dog can go with you in public. It can give you love. It can protect you and help you meet others. It can be pure joy. On the other hand, if you have an out-of-control dog, it's a terrible burden. It tugs and pulls and embarrasses you, gets into fights and exhausts you, and you just don't want to take it out and go anywhere. So this is your core identity. You are soul. God loves you, and you are here to learn. So with this knowledge, be strong. Be strong in yourself and be strong in God. And you can choose whatever other identity you want to layer upon your core identity, but do so consciously and allow yourself room to grow and change. My recommendation is to be very choosy about what you identify with. Every identity you layer upon your core identity may provide a false sense of security, but it comes at a loss of freedom. So I want to go through some specific suggestions I have. First, become conscious of the identification process within your own mind. Without judgment, try to see how you are identifying yourself, how you've labeled yourself, how other people have labeled you, and what labels other people have given you that you have accepted. And look at the image that you try to project to the world. Try to figure out who has control over you through the identification process. Second, determine which labels you want to keep and which you want to eliminate. Consciously detach yourself from the labels that are holding you back. You may want to start by not identifying yourself with a political party. And at the very least, think for yourself for each individual issue instead of just turning on autopilot. I do this. I don't let other people label me as a Democrat or Republican. I'm not either of those, and I don't want to attach myself to one of those labels. And that brings me to the third point. Don't let others label you. Be tactfully fierce about this. Fourth, don't let others control you by getting your emotions stirred up. Don't fall into the trap of fear and anger with politics and social issues or environmentalism. So environmentalists, for example, they try to get you scared for the future of the world. and then they make you feel guilty. They don't want you to think. They want you to identify with them so they can control you. Don't get caught up in it. Remember, you can live a good life and be responsible for the environment without getting sucked into the fear and guilt and anger. Fifth, let others be. If you want the freedom to live as you choose, you need to grant others the same freedom. Don't be judgmental. Don't be overly opinionated. Be flexible and be open-minded. Sixth, be radically independent. The world tries to fit you into a box and control how you live your life, but become very strong at knowing what you want and don't worry about what anyone else tells you. Seventh, you are not your profession. You are not a watchmaker or an animator or an artist or a writer. Detach from what you do. Stop looking at your future as an endpoint. Life goes on. Live your life. Experience, learn, experiment, succeed, fail, grow. The skill that you are learning now is one brushstroke in a beautiful painting, which is added to the other brushstrokes that have made up your life until now. You can't see how beautiful your painting is until you step back and look at all of the brushstrokes from a distance. But people around you see it before you do, and it is your gift to them. Eighth, you are not your successes or your failures. If you identify with successes or failures, you will fear failure because your self-worth will plummet every time you fail. Failure is part of life. Yes, successes can give you a short-term high, but either way, if you tie your identity with your actions, you are sentencing yourself to a life of ups and downs based on something external from yourself. It's healthy to feel good when you succeed and feel upset when you fail, but it shouldn't be a bone-jarring, life-questioning moment. 9, don't identify with your bad habits. So why is it so hard to quit smoking? Most people will say it's because nicotine is addictive, but I don't agree. I would argue that it's because the person has identified themselves as a smoker. This means that all efforts that the person takes to quit smoking goes against what they actually believe about themselves deep down. So what's the solution? Even before you quit the physical process of smoking, change your personal identity to the opposite of a smoker. See yourself as a healthy, vibrant person, which is obviously a non-smoker. And as soon as you actually believe it, your act of smoking will fall away. 10th, don't judge yourself. Be as gentle with yourself as you would be to someone you love. If your spouse made a mistake, you would be gentle with her. You would give her love and support, so do the same for yourself. So to summarize, your mind has a strong desire to be labeled, otherwise it's in pain. If left to its own devices, the mind will assume even negative labels. But you have a choice in the matter. You can choose how to identify yourself. And in gaining control of this identification process, you can become strong in character. Know who you are. Choose how you want to be, how you want to live, and be strong. And so I want to end with one final point. People who are truly strong in character tend to be lighthearted. They can take a joke. They can bend with the difficulties of life. They don't get easily offended. So be strong. I hope this helped you. And I encourage you to share this podcast with anyone who's having a problem knowing who they are and how they fit into this world, which is actually a lot of people. And please let me know if you like this podcast and if you'd like me to cover more topics like this. I consider this to be practical spirituality is the topic I kind of consider this to be. So I want to finish by reminding you that I am an independent voice. And if you like what I have to say, and if you trust my perspective, please sign up for my weekly newsletters at glennmeter.com. I have a free version and a paid premium version. I don't work for anyone else. I don't make a salary. The only way I make money is from the support from my premium newsletter members. So please go to my please go to glenmeter.com and sign up as a premium member. It's only $5 a month, which is an extremely small price to pay to support someone you trust. So please support me. Also, please like my YouTube channel and give my videos a thumbs up and share. I'm also on Apple Podcasts now. I'm brand new on there, so please give me a 5-star review. But the most important thing is to sign up for my newsletter. Censorship is a real thing right now, and email is the only certain way to get around that censorship. So, again, glenmeter.com, sign up as a premium member. Thank you very much.